Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me here to Wyoming. This is my first time to be in this part of the country, and I've already seen many sculptures of Indians and cowboys. But then I come from Irvine, where our airport is also named after famous cowboy actor John Wayne. So there is actually a connection. I'd like to start by really thanking Dr. Gatua Mbugwa, who has been on my back about this particular visit. But most important for what he is doing from Wyoming, which is really affecting the whole conversation about languages and cultures in many parts of Africa, particularly in Africa, and of course where he and I come from, Kenya. Wyoming to have been the place where the first ever doctoral dissertation in science in an African language, certainly in an African language from Kenya, but I believe in a continent largely, is incredible. And I congratulate him for so doing. It was hard work. It meant faith. It meant having to persist despite voices that I'm sure always told him, oh, well, it's impossible. African languages are not capable of description of science, of things like that. Objections, which, by the way, also English language faced in the 16th century when it was emerging during the Renaissance, when it was emerging from the hegemonic control of Latin to become a national language in its own right. And the same experience European languages like French, German also went through, where people were actually horrified, absolutely horrified, that English could be used to express scientific thought. So English people themselves would say, it's not possible. How do you describe medical terms in English? It's impossible. Our language is rough, rude, rudimentary, and words like that were used for English language against those who were saying, no, we can do these things in our language, not only in Latin. So I'm sure Gatua Mbugwa met same kind of barriers or hurdles or discouragement, and he managed to persist and produce a work in Kikuyu language, but most important, based on his research here in the Central Highlands or Wyoming. By so doing, he did two things, not only showing to us African people that, and others, that African language can also be used for scientific work, research, and so on, But that also African languages can also talk about knowledges elsewhere. In other words, they can talk about Wyoming, America, the world, and so on, and that they need not always be confined to Africa necessarily, although that's very important because they are home base. So by producing that dissertation, which elicited headlines in Kenya and all over the world, he did. It's really a very, I can't describe how important a breakthrough that was. And that's why not only do I congratulate him, but also Wyoming for creating the conditions of having the broad-mindedness to have said, oh, go ahead. Science is science, no matter in what language it expresses itself, which of course has been true of knowledge in history. We've all gained from Latin, from Greek, from Chinese, from Russians, from different, languages, and so on.